Hello, and welcome to a video on how to create a payment group in U3A Web. This video walks group coordinators through how to create a payment group, and will help group leaders when they wish to change some aspects of the group details. There are other help videos to show the facilities available to group leaders, to make the group page more useful in the administration of their group, and to add interest for viewers of the group page. The creation of groups is restricted to group coordinators and system administrators. Once the creation is finished by the coordinator or system administrator, the maintenance and display of the group passes to the relevant group leaders or their web buddies, who are also known as group administrators. In this video we are looking at the creation of a payment group. These are used for such things as day trips or theater trips, but may be used in other circumstances, if relevant. The group coordinator should navigate to a group list, after logging into the member section of the system. If the person has the correct system profile, there will be a blue cross, in a light blue circle, at the top right of the page. Click that blue cross. A selection field will appear at top right of the page, titled Select Group Type. Click that drop-down. The options available are shown here. In this video we are concentrating on a payment group. These groups are where a payment is required for participation, which can be either a single basic payment, or a basic payment with added extras that can be selected by the prospective member. Examples could be day trips or theater trips, but a U3A may use these for other types of activity if required. There is another video to assist with the creation and administration of a standard group, which can be used for what are probably the vast majority of groups in most U3As. Refer to that video for advice on standard groups. Now, click the option Payment Group. When you click Payment, a new template is presented. We will now step through what each field requires. The first field is for the group name. This should be decided between the coordinator and the group leader. The coordinator will advise on the best format for the name, to suit the system. Simply type in the name. The next two fields are for the group leader, or leaders, to be assigned. You must insert at least one leader, but two are advisable, just in case the first leader becomes unavailable for some reason. As you begin to type in the name, or member number, of the person required, a list is presented. The more you enter, the shorter the list becomes. When you see the name you require, you click on that name, and it transfers into the field. In the next field, you must select one of the coordinators available in the list. Normally this would be the person creating the group, but it is possible to select another person from the list. The field, Meeting Venue, requires you to select one of the venues that have been entered in the database. These are entered by either the venue coordinator for your U3A, or the system administrator. In some U3As where a trip is to a single-use venue, such as a theater, or a stately home, they have created an all-encompassing venue name of no specific venue. If this is used, then details of where the trip is going would need to be included in the group description. However, if a required specific venue is not in the list, speak to the venue coordinator or system administrator who will address this. The start date field should be selected via the calendar icon, and is the date on which the group will start their meetings, or the date on which the trip takes place. It is unlikely that a payment group will meet on an ongoing regular basis on set days. But if this is required, then click the rolling end dates box. If used, this will enable the system to automatically keep the future meeting dates current on the group page, as available to viewers of the group. It also means the group members can use the My Program facility for regular meetings. If the group has a fixed finish date, where the group meets for a trip and then doesn't reoccur, then select the last date the group will meet on, from the calendar icon. This may well be the same date as the start date. The field marked Application Date should be completed to show at what date the U3A members can apply to join the group, whether that is via the system or a manual entry. If the date is in the future, then in a group list, the viewer will be shown the earliest they can apply. If there is a cut-off date, after which members can no longer apply to join the group, complete the closing date field by using the calendar icon. The next field, frequency, should be selected from the drop-down. The options are weekly, where the group meets each week on the same day. This may not be relevant for a one-off trip. Fortnightly, where the group meets every second week on a fixed day. Again, this may not be relevant for a one-off trip. Monthly, where the group meets on same day each month. Yet again, this may not be relevant for a one-off trip. Periodically, where the group meets on an ad hoc basis. And again, this may not be relevant for a one-off trip. User-defined, where the group meets on a basis that does not suit any of the other selections. If this option is selected, then a new field is presented. You should describe the frequency in that field. For single-instance trips such as theater visits and day trips, user-defined is possibly the most relevant selection. If the frequency is selected as user-defined, a new field is presented, called frequency description. In this field, type in something to let members know when the group will meet, such as, on the day of trip only, or, for period of holiday. It is unlikely that this field will be used for payment groups, and if user-defined is selected, then the field is removed from the display. However, if another frequency is selected, then the following applies. In the day of meeting field, you should select the day of the week on which the group will meet. Again, it is unlikely that this field will be used for payment groups, and if user-defined is selected, then the field is removed from the display. However, if another frequency is selected, then the following applies. The weeks in month field enables the days within a month on which the group meets. This applies to groups meeting fortnightly and monthly. It is taken that a weekly group is every week, and the calendar will be completed on that basis. For fortnightly and monthly groups, the system needs to take into account both 4 and 5 week months to display the correct dates. The following section describes how these fields should be completed, if relevant for your group, where the selection is not user-defined. This description is in case you do select an option that is not user-defined. In scenario 1, if a fortnightly group meets on a specific day in the first and third week of the month, ignoring any 5-week months, enter 1 and 3 in the week in month fields. In scenario 2, if a fortnightly group meets on a specific day in the second and fourth week of the month, ignoring any 5-week months, enter 2 and 4 in the week in month fields. In scenario 3, if a fortnightly group meets every 2 weeks including any 5-week months, then enter 1, 3 and 5 in the week in month fields. In scenario 4, if a monthly group meets on a day in a month's last week, including any 5-week months, so maybe the 4th or 5th week, enter -1 in the week in month field. In scenario 5, if a monthly group meets in the second to last week in a month, including any 5-week months, so maybe the 3rd week or 4th week, then enter -2 in the week in month field. In the 2 fields for time of meeting, enter the start and finish times of the group meeting. This should be in the 24-hour clock format with the hours and minutes divided by a colon. So for instance, if it is a day trip, then the first coach pickup time would be starts, and the last coach drop-off time would be ends. A payment group can involve either a single set price, or alternately a base price, but with other options that can be added at a cost to the member. If your trip is the second option, a base price plus extras, then check the field, Group Optional Charges. If this is selected, then a new set of fields are presented, as in the following section. To explain the base price plus extras. If the group is a day trip to a city by coach, then the cost of the coach trip would be the base price, as you can't access the other 2 options without going on the coach. The trip then has an option for the member to gain access to the grounds of a stately home, with an entrance fee of £8. The member may wish to take this option, and should select it at the time of application. The organizers have also arranged an option of having a guided tour around the actual stately home building. This carries a cost of £15, and can also be selected if required by the member. In that example, Member 1 only wishes to go on the coach to the city, so applies to join the group, but selects nothing else. They would be charged £20 for the coach. Member 2 wants to go to the city, but would also like to wander round the grounds of the stately home. They would apply for membership of the group, but check the first optional extra of entry to the grounds. Their charge will show as £28. Member 3 wishes to take the trip, then spend a while wandering round the grounds of the stately home. But they also want some culture by being guided around the stately home. They would apply for membership of the group, and then select both optional extras. Their charge would be calculated at £43. When extras are selected, the system calculates, and shows the relevant charge to be raised by the group leader. If you do select the optional extras checkbox, a new set of fields appear, allowing the coordinator to define the elements and charges, as shown here. In the first field, enter the base price of the trip. This is the element without which none of the others can be accessed. In the corresponding value field, enter the cost of the base trip in pounds and pence, divided by a full stop. In the second row of fields, enter the first optional extra for the trip. In the corresponding value field, enter the cost of that optional extra, in pounds and pence, divided by a full stop. In the following rows of fields, enter up to 6 more optional extras available for the trip. In the corresponding value fields, enter the costs for each extra, in pounds and pence, divided by a full stop. In some cases, a trip organizer may be able to negotiate discounts for U3A members who are also a member of certain national or regional organizations. If this is the case, then click the radio button next to the relevant external organization. Note that None is selected as the default. In the final field in this section, Discount Value, you should enter the value, in pounds and pence, that has been agreed with the venue for the activity. If optional charges are applied, then the costs in the subsequent fields are auto-calculated. There are 2 possibilities for these 2 fields. If you have selected optional charges, then the field, Total Cost, will not show, as the system calculates this, once an application to join the group has been made. However, if the activity is a single cost activity, then this is where you enter that cost in pounds and pence. In both cases, you must enter a date on which full payment should be made. The payment group may wish to operate a 2-part payment system, whereby a deposit is made first, followed by a balance payment. If this is the case, then enter an amount for the deposit in pounds and pence, followed by the date by which the deposit must be received. You now need to select the U3A account into which payments for the group should be made to. If your U3A are using electronic payments, via Stripe or Go Cardless, to take payments for this type of group, this is very important. If you are unsure about which account to use, then consult with your treasurer or your system administrator. Also, if you are using the U3A Web Finance module, you need to ensure the correct account is selected. Groups should be assigned at least 1, and possibly 2, categories. This will allow the group to show within a list of similar groups, in a group listing ordered by category. The description field, shown on this page, is limited to a maximum of 1,000 characters, so is quite brief. If a group leader wishes to be more expansive in the description or add pictures, or text formatting, then after creation they can go to the white speech bubble, in the GL icons on the group page, and make the page more pleasing to the eye for viewers. There is another help video describing this facility in our playlist of videos. The comments field does not display to normal viewers. Text entered here is only visible to leaders, coordinators and administrators. This is generally only used for admin purposes. The display telephone field allows the display of either one or both group leader phone numbers to be shown to viewers. There is also an option to display neither leader's number, should that be the wish of the leaders. However, this does limit the communication methods available to members. The field Total Places in Group allows the member listings to be displayed correctly on group lists, and the members in group available to group leaders. This field should be set to the maximum number the group venue can accommodate, or possibly the number that is safe for a group to run with. For the max waiting list size field, it is suggested that all groups run a waiting list. This allows the U3A to see if there is enough interest in a group to generate a sister or mirror group. This should be set at the creation of the group, as leaders will not have the facility to change the number subsequently, if the system has been set in that way by the administrator. Some U3As set a maximum number centrally, with a system default number of 99 if it has not been overridden by the committee. The system will allow email communication between members of a group, if that is required. However, it should be noted that free use of this can lead to death by email, with some members not having an off switch when it comes to mailing their friends. The leader should be very sure that all members of the group wish this facility to be enabled. For the majority of payment groups, it is likely that the venue will not be a local facility. Therefore, this field should be left at no. However, if your U3A has enabled venue booking by group leaders, and the venue is one that is able to be booked by them, then this field should be set to yes. If you are unsure about this, then contact your system administrator. The group user status is available if your U3A has set up the color coding system for group types. Consult your system administrator if you need advice on this facility. The status of a group falls into 3 categories. Draft means that the group is only visible to leaders, coordinators and administrators. The group does not appear in a listing to any ordinary U3A members. This allows editing of the group prior to being made generally available at the launch of the group. Live means the group is generally available to view by all visitors to the U3A website. The public can view it with restricted details, but members have full visibility access to all the details entered. Finally, archive means the group has finished and can be taken off display. Once the group is archived, it cannot be recovered to view, unless the system developer is contacted to recover it to draft status. This recovery would only be in very exceptional circumstances. Once all of the above fields have been addressed, at creation or edit, always remember to click the OK button to submit the entered detail. Once the group is created, should a leader wish to make changes, then the use of the pen and paper icon or the white speech bubble, available from the top of the group page for leaders and coordinators, is the method to use. There are separate videos advising on how to use these facilities. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it helps with the creation and maintenance of group pages. If other facilities for group leaders require explanation, see the other videos available in the YouTube playlist.